Maharaj. Hare Krishna everyone, welcome to Hare Krishna Fridays on the eve of Brighton Rath Yatra. Jai Jagannath! Hare Krishna, we're really happy that His Holiness Janana Goswami Maharaj has come down a little earlier to be with us on Fridays. Maharaj is a sannyasi, he's a wandering preacher and a sharer of Krishna consciousness all over the world. Mostly based in France at the moment, and we're really happy that he's managed to get to Brighton, and we're always happy for
We came across. It took us 4.5 hours to drive over the channel. We drove across the water straight to Brighton.
As fast as you can. Yeah. Jai.
Special car, you know.
But we're glad you made it, Maharaj. Yes. Hare Krishna, welcome to Maharaj. Haribol!
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Over to you, Maharaj.
Okay. Prasadam time. Maybe some of you are coming for the first time. Anyone coming for the first time to the program here? Maybe everyone's familiar. Everyone.
Second time.
Second time, maybe. Anyone coming for the second time?
Or third time, maybe.
No. The last time we haven't.
The last time.
That we can't say for sure. We never know. Some of us may know, but some of us don't know. We never know. It's the nature of this world. You know, we drove down from central London. One devotee wanted to drive us down. We left London at exactly 2:40. We arrived here at 2 minutes to 7. Oh dear, what's happening?
Okay, a little amplification.
Doing some check on my brain or something? What is this? It's like one of those things you put on your head to check your brain. What's all this? Okay. Oh. Yeah, nearly 4.5 hours in the car. Crazy, huh? Pretty crazy. What to do? We weren't expecting that, but anyway, that's what happened. So anyway, thank you for coming this evening and the humble gathering, especially those who come from far away. Some of you come from all the way from King's Lynn.
Jai.
Correct? Nitai? Overdone? You drove down today? Pardon?
Took us 8 hours.
Took you 8 hours, even longer than us. That's a bit further. Anyway, nice. Well, thanks for coming.
Maharaj, Sita and Don come from Sheffield.
Where's from Sheffield? Oh, yeah.
Sita and Don.
Where you come down for the Rath Yatra? Wonderful, wonderful.
Braj Prabhu from Cornwall.
Who's from Cornwall?
Braj Prabhu.
Oh, from Cornwall. My goodness, where in Cornwall?
St. Ives.
Where?
St. Ives.
St. Ives, no way. St. Ives, huh? Wow. I got an old memory of St. Ives. I may tell it later, but not now. Maybe, let's see. When I was 2 or 3 years old. Yeah. We were on holiday in St. Ives, but I'll see, maybe we'll tell it or not, I don't know. So, anyway, anyone else come from long distance, further than Brighton anyway? Where from?
From Poland.
Poland? Yes. You really come a long way. You came all the way over for the program tonight, is it?
Yes, for Yatra.
Oh, wow, wonderful. Fantastic. Thank you for coming from Poland. My word, marvelous. And some other hand went up. I couldn't see the underlying body. Oh, you're together?
Yes.
Oh, far out. Are you staying in Brighton for some time?
Yes.
I mean, how much time?
We arrived
Yesterday?
yesterday and stayed to
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Then back to Poland?
Yes.
Wow. That's why you've not seen them before, maybe, huh?
Chitinanda is from Somerset.
Where? Oh, you're from Somerset. Where in Somerset?
Frome.
Where?
It's Frome.
Frome?
Yeah.
Frome. Frome. Looks like Frome, but you say Frome. Yeah.
And Sita and
lovely.
Jesus Ekarani and Dawn have come from Sheffield.
Yeah, we heard that just now. That was
These
wonderful.
These are all our old family, Maharaj. They're
Old family.
reuniting.
You were here before. You moved to Froome. All reunited.
And Braj Prabhu, he was part of our gang.
Ah, good.
Sita and Don.
Very nice.
Family reunion.
Great Pamoya Prabhu coming tomorrow? Is he coming? Not sure.
I don't know. Hope so.
Let's see. Hare Krishna. So a wonderful eve of, it's not just the eve of Rath Yatra. Tomorrow is the day when Prabhupada arrived in Boston in 1965. Well, I mean, anniversary of that day. And I guess everyone has heard of Srila Prabhupada. Has anyone not heard of his position and in his movement? Has everyone heard, familiar with Srila? Is there a picture?
There's some heads shaking over there, Maharaj.
Where?
Not everybody.
My head's shaking as well. Somebody hasn't. Over there on the left hand, on the altar, I think. Maybe here, I don't know. No. But over there on the left side of the altar, you may not be able to see, I don't know. There's one picture with a yellow garland. There's a red sort of seat there. That personality's name is Srila Prabhupada. We call him Srila Prabhupada. That's an address, which devotees address their spiritual inspiration, their leader, their teacher, their guru, by that name. He came to America in 1965. 65. On September. It's a little different, the date. I think tomorrow's the 12th, is it? 13th tomorrow. But he came on the 17th, because the ancient calendar's days are a little different to the Western dates. So there's a few days difference, but anniversary tomorrow of his coming, and that's how many years ago? 65? 35 plus 20. How many years? 60 years? 60 years exactly, isn't it? Well, that's interesting. 60 years ago, tomorrow, he arrived in Boston. And tonight we'll talk a little bit about this event, which is always good to hear. What do you think, Govardhan? Pardon?
Yes, definitely.
Definitely. It's you can understand a lot about the purpose of this Hare Krishna movement and the history and how relevant it is to the problems we face in our daily lives, and not to speak of the word problems, it never stops. I mean, those who've been in their body more than a few years, it's not like there's never been a time really where there's not been some issues going on. Somewhere, there's always some issues, of course, but big ones, what we call big. A war somewhere, or some, major catastrophe or something. Some uprisings going on, and so on. So now, I don't know, every generation says the same thing. It's worse now than it was before. I don't know how bad it can get before it gets better, but it seems like every time the older generation is just so bad now. Those of you who are young will probably say the same thing in 30, 40 years too. It's kind of part of the way we see things, more or less. Srila Prabhupada, he saw that, but that wasn't his, he didn't delve in it in the same way that most of us do. He dealt with it in a very different way. And we'll hear about that a little bit tonight. So today is the anniversary of the day before he landed in Boston. And he was keeping a diary. Diary? Some of you may keep a diary probably on your mobile or computer. Not many people write it anymore, do they? In those days there were no mobiles or computers, everything was written. So he kept a handwritten diary of some of the events on his journey to America. We'll just tell a little bit about the background of his going to America. Unlike most people, at least in those days, they went to America for material reasons. If they could hopefully get, especially from India, Whenever I was in Bombay, it was called Bombay then, now it's called Mumbai. I was there with one local devotee in Bombay, and going along what's called the Chowpatty, that means the beach, on the beach side. And there were hundreds of people looking out at the ocean. Well, that's kind of not unusual in one sense. I asked them, they all seem to be looking out over the ocean. Is there any specific reason why people here do that? And he said, yes, they're all dreaming of the day when they can go to America. Looking at the ocean, and that day will come. And of course they're dreaming of going there for material reasons. I mean, money, job, maybe a holiday if they're rich, or some education or something, whatever you call it. Some material reason. But that's usually the case. Srila Prabhupada, he went to America, but it wasn't like he was particularly planning, I must go to America per se. What happened was, when he was a young man, when he met his own spiritual master, his spiritual master told him that you were very educated in English, you should make your life's mission to preach this message of Krishna consciousness in the English language. So he took that to heart all over the world. And his spiritual master said, this will be good for you and good for everyone else. So he kept that in his heart. That was in 1922. The opportunity didn't arise. He was a married man with family. He'd retired from his family when he was 70 years old. He was living alone in a holy city holy town called Vrindavan. Some of you have been, of course. It's near Delhi. It's very holy to the devotees of Krishna. Very special place. So he was living alone there, thinking how I can still, at the age of 70 years, how I can fulfill my spiritual master's desire. If you love somebody, you want to do what they say, don't you? Isn't it? If you love, you would not say what they say, but what they want. You want to satisfy their desires. Huh? That's love. So Prabhupada, out of love, he wanted to see how he could. Nobody is doing it at that stage. I mean, Indian gurus were coming, but they were teaching something a little different. So he was thinking how to do that, and there was no money. He had no money. He was living alone. He had no money at all. He was trying to publish some books which he written and produced. He was trying to get them published and distribute a few. So anyway, somehow or another, by the arrangement of Almighty, he met one man in Agra, one city near Vrindavan. This man said, I will get my son to sponsor you if you want to go to the West. He is in America, so he can sponsor you to go to America. So Prabhupada, our spiritual master, didn't think anything of that particularly. He'd heard that many times before, nothing ever happened. But one day in the mail, a letter came from the American embassy saying, your sponsorship papers are now ready. Prabhupada was surprised, kind of taken aback. He didn't even relate to how that happened in the first place. He didn't say how they came, and so on. It was some meeting he had ages before with this man in Agra, but his name was Agrawal also. And anyway, the papers were there, so then Prabhupada looked into it and saw this must be Krishna's sign. So then he went, he had no passport, he had no money. In 1965, you couldn't just catch a plane out of India. It wasn't so easy as that. To get a passport was very difficult. To get permission to leave India was very difficult for an Indian citizen. It wasn't like, maybe it's easier now. I don't know. Some of you know better than I. But then it was very difficult. And he had to get passport, first of all. Well, that was possible if he had the support. Luckily, he had some supporters who helped him to get the passport together. But then he had to get a visa for America. That wasn't difficult, although he had a sponsor. He himself had no income whatsoever. He had no bank account, no income, no job, no family support, no society support. Just somebody he never even seen or heard of is sponsoring him in America. Ordinary, well, not ordinary, no one's ordinary in one sense, but you know what I mean. He wasn't a kind of influential man, he was just an ordinary worker in America, the son of this Indian gentleman he met in Agra. And, that was difficult. But somehow or other he managed to get that. But the most difficult thing of all was not the visa, passport, or the sponsorship. It was called P form. They had this thing called the P form. It's a permission from the State Bank of India, which one had to get before one would be allowed to leave the country. And generally you have to have either a job offer, a lot of money backing up, or a significant, sponsor from America, who's not just in person. It's not person, that doesn't work. It's got to be some institute or some, company or something. So he had none of those things. There's no way, they said, that we're going to give you this permission to leave India. You're 70 years old. Your health is not so good anyway. And you haven't got any money. You got what happens? You go there, Hare Krishna, come in. Hare Bol. You have nothing. They said, no, and Prabhupada insisted. He said, he wouldn't leave the office. He said, no, I need to speak to your boss. I'm not going to say no. He was so determined, he wouldn't accept no for an answer. Eventually the boss agreed to see him, the head of that bank, State Bank of India. And he had the Prabhupada's applications on his table. He looked at it and said, Swamiji, I don't do this normally. Something's telling me I'm going to give you the permit. And he gave him the chop. He had no eligibility to receive it from the material point of view. But he managed to get that together. They had no money. How was he going to go? Even if you got a passport and all this and that, without money, how do you go? You can swim. You can't walk. There's no footpath. You wouldn't make it, even if there were. But he had no money. But one of the persons he'd approached before to try to help him publish books, she owned a steamship, cargo ship company. So that was a great struggle too, to convince her. She said, well, you're wasting your time going to America. No one's going to listen to you. There's nothing to eat there. You're a strict vegetarian and so on. There's nothing, you won't be able to live there. And besides, your health, you're probably going to die if you go there. She was trying different ways to dissuade Prabhupada. He said, oh, don't, you stay here. I promise I'll pay for the publication of your literature here if you want to do that. And no, but he was absolutely insistent to do this. And there was no Hare Krishna movement in America at that time, none. There's one or two little bits and pieces in Europe, but nothing in America. So he was determined, so eventually she agreed, and she gave him a free ticket on one of her cargo ships. It wasn't even a passenger ship, it was a cargo ship. He was like practically the only passenger on there besides the crew. He was the only passenger. The captain, she selected a ship where the captain was a vegetarian and was a little Krishna conscious kind of person. So he and his wife looked after Prabhupada on the voyage as best they could, although Prabhupada suffered tremendous health challenges on the voyage. And it's understood he had heart attacks even on the voyage. It was so rough on the Arabian Sea as they traveled across from Bombay. But eventually they reached across the Atlantic, which was apparently very smooth. So I'm going to take up a little reading now. He's alone on the boat, but he had many copies of this book. It's called Srimad Bhagavatam. First a few volumes, 3 volumes, which he'd had printed in India. They managed to store them, stop them on the boat for his journey to America. So he had those, but that was about it, really. Just a bag, trunk, and that was it. And he didn't even know where he was going. He didn't know anyone. He didn't know where he was going. He had no money. He had 40 rupees to his name. That was it. 40 rupees now is not even 50 pence. It was a bit more valuable in those days. The currency exchange rate was different. But you couldn't change. The thing about rupees then, you couldn't change it, even if you wanted to outside. You couldn't change it. You went to a money change or a bank, they wouldn't change it for you. One of those currencies you couldn't change. They only had sort of like theoretical value in one sense. Anyway, today, Prabhupada writes in his diary, he says, is the 35th day of our journey. So he'd been on the boat for 35 days from, I don't know, from Bombay or Calcutta. He left from Calcutta, so maybe 35 days. Yeah, 35 days from Calcutta, because he left Calcutta on the 13th of August. So this is the 16th of September here. So 35 days, 35th day of the journey. Yesterday night at about 10:30 p.m. we have turned, one wheel means like, towards the northeastern corner from the Bermuda, Prabhupada's getting told this, he heard it from the captain, I think. Bermuda latitude towards Boston Port. Yeah. Tissue is there. And now it's sailing towards Boston. In the morning, the atmosphere was fairly clear and the ship was going smoothly. The first officer told me they'd never had such an experience of the Atlantic Ocean. It was very calm. The Arabian Sea was very rough, but the Atlantic was very calm. He ascribed the good luck to Prabhupada. He said, I said, yes, it is all Lord Krishna's grace. Because due to my severe type of seasickness, he has himself taken charge of the ship. And he's actually rowing the boat, practically. We shall certainly reach the American ports safely. And sometimes the Atlantic Ocean could be pretty rough, to say the least. The whole day on the 16th was very clear sunshine, but at 4 o'clock in the evening, the sky all of a sudden became foggy. The sky became very foggy. The sun became dim. The horizon was still just about visible. Let's see what's ahead. The ship stopped completely at 6 p.m. on account of very dense fog. May Lord Krishna be pleased to get out of this fog. There's something very relatively significant in this regards too, And the name of the boat, some of you know what the name of the boat was, I think. Jaladuta. And now because it's Bengali, I think, or Hindi, I don't know. Jala means water, and Duta is the messenger that crosses the water, basically. It was a very prophetic name the boat had. And he was crossing the ocean. This material life is known as the ocean of birth and death. Everyone, man, woman, animal, insect, everyone is under the control of the material energy. We're not independent. We like to be, but we're not. Death, old age, disease, all these things are unavoidable. You can sidetrack it step it a little bit, but ultimately death comes to everyone, one way or another. The ocean of birth and death, in the material world, everything, not just people, everything comes to an end. I see you have a T-shirt with the Beatles written on there. I don't know your name.
I'm Ziggy.
Pardon?
My name's Ziggy.
What was that?
Back to Ziggy.
Diggy?
Ziggy.
Ziggy. Oh, that's a good name, Ziggy. Thank you, Ziggy. Well, there was one, they came out, I don't know, George Harrison or the Beatles, they came out with that one album, All Things Must Pass. All things must pass. Nothing's permanent, everything comes and goes. This from the Bhagavad Gita they quoted. Many people quote the Bhagavad Gita without giving reference to the source. Even Oppenheimer did when he set off the first atom bomb. He quoted directly from Gita. Time I am, destroyer of the worlds. He read the Gita, so he was a bit taken aback when he saw what happened. So Prabhupada came and, now he's stuck. The ship is waiting to dock in Boston and there's thick fog. You can't move, I don't know if you still have that problem. I don't hear about it, but there used to be a lot of fog when I was a kid. If you remember that, Sri Radhi, there used to be a lot of fog.
A lot of fog.
Fog.
Fog. The weather fog.
Fog.
Oh, yes.
Fog. Not hog. Fog. Not hog. There used to be a lot more hogs, but there aren't not so many hogs as there used to be either. But especially the fog. There are more dogs, but not so many hogs. Not so much fog. There used to be a lot of fog, I remember when I was a kid. I don't see much now.
We get a bit of sea mist, Maharaj.
Mist, but not so much thick fog. You can't hardly see. I wouldn't be able to see you in this fog. Literally. 1 meter, you can't see more than that.
That's true.
Really thick fog we used to get. Anyway, it was thick fog. The boat couldn't move. They had to stand still. You know, they blow their horns. You know. I don't know. They didn't have a very high-tech system of, you know, let's say, communication in those days. A lot of horning. Still like that in India, isn't it? And still, the horn is the main instrument on a car, isn't it? The first thing you have to check out on the car, make sure you've got a good horn. And the brake is insignificant. The horn is the important thing. So anyway, he's stuck there, somewhere just off out of the port there, in the boat, deep fog. Just thinking and mentioning it this morning that, you know, everyone's like in the fog in this world. I mean, when you consider it, really, nobody has much idea where they're going. What's going to happen to you when you die? You may have some theoretical idea or some dream idea, but nobody really knows. We don't even know where we came from. Can't even remember, you know, being in the womb. We're so much in the dark, so much in ignorance about what's going on, and what to speak of the material leadership and the. Let me take this up a little bit here. Here we go. That's better. Blind is described in India, in famous scriptures. They again and again describe it's like the blind leading the blind. You know, what happens if a blind person leads another blind person? It's not a very good situation. Every chance they'll fall into a ditch or into a difficulty. So that's the situation of the world today. Nobody really knows what they're doing. They may think they do, but they're just acting according to their impulses. This is the problem. There's so many problems in the world today. People are fighting over this ignorance. They're all under ignorance and passion. You know, identifying with the body, isn't it? Or the so-called religion. I say so-called because very few people are actually following. But they identify with it, and it becomes a source of animosity between people rather than a unifying factor. Krishna consciousness is a unifying factor. It's nothing to do with what religion you are. It's a state of consciousness. It's a science how to awaken that consciousness so you can see all people equally in another way, in different. You know, we're all of the same quality, not the body. The body is never equal. No two bodies are the same. Everyone, even in family life. I've heard that sometimes even in family life there are quarrels. I don't know if it's true. I heard that. Someone told me. Anyone experienced that? In family life, sometimes there are quarrels. There's not agreement. Sometimes they break up. Most of the time I've heard in the West now this is the case. Unfortunately, as it may be, but that's one of those things. Because people are so much identifying with their own body and senses, and their intent, most people's goal of life is to satisfy themselves. Basically. Nationally, individually, religiously. Everyone puts themselves in the center. They don't put God in the center. They put themselves in the center. To a certain degree, there's more to goodness when people try to help others materially. But even then, there's always some limitation. There's not universal. Still, there's some, you know, it may be humans or some degree of humans. But what about everybody else? What about the trees? What about the birds? What about the fishes? When you know, every day, you know how many fish are killed every day for human eating? Do you know? 8 billion. One per person a day is slaughtered for humans to eat. Most of them are just dead and thrown back in the ocean. 8 billion a day, average. That's what they say. I'm just repeating their statistics. That's all. Or to speak of the hundreds of millions of other animals slaughtered. I want to speak of the children slaughtered in the womb. I mean, we all know there's many angles to that one, but the principle above and beyond, the horrible things that lead up to it, and women being mistreated and so on, we understand the psychology, but the reality is that society is not protecting women, it's not protecting children, it's not protecting old people. So many people not being properly protected, they don't know what it means anyway, practically. But there's so much cruelty going on. You know, there's almost as many abortions as there are live births on the planet. almost as many abortions. It's not that much different. And these things are going on. How do we expect peace? How many animals are slaughtered for our tongue to enjoy our senses? It's not because we absolutely need it. We just want it, that's all. So we're creating our own suffering in this way, exploiting the earth in so many ways. Look at our lives. You look at anyone's house nowadays, any day, but especially nowadays. I mean, I don't know about in Brighton, but most places I go in the house, you'll see there's so many things in the house, isn't it? Different gadgets, electric toothbrushes, every type of thing you can think of, you know. These are all unnecessaries, not required, a waste of energy. Exploiting the earth, even mobile phones, every one of you knows better than I do. You know, the history of mobile phones. Even the eco-friendly solar panels are the most non-eco-friendly thing you can think of, practically. They're, it'd be a human disaster, ecological disaster. I don't speak of all the batteries and God knows what else is involved. You know, we're exploiting the earth. Just what for? What for? Just for our own sense enjoyment, that's all. To increase our own so-called. And we're not happier anyway. People are definitely not benefiting from all of this. I heard you're lucky in Brighton. Who was telling me? Where's he gone? Where is he? There you are. There's no fluoride in the water in Brighton, is that right? No fluoride. Is that right?
Yes.
Yes, no, some don't know, some say yes, some I'm not sure. I don't know.
Most people don't know these things.
They don't know these things, no. You know, they're lucky. You know, fluoride, you don't know what you're missing. You know, you should buy a bottle of fluoride and drink it. It's really nice. The hospital will be very busy. You know, whatever it is, but all these things we do for so-called, improving the quality of life, we haven't got it quite right. So Prabhupada was coming, we were in the fog, we were all like in the dark. He came to the West, and basically speaking, to remove the fog. It's not like anything new. Srila Prabhupada's mission was just to reveal to us what we've forgotten. That's all. You know, it's like the door's closed, you don't know what's behind it. So his business was just to help us, we have to do that, by the way, open our doors so we can see what's inside, see what's really going on there. Our doors are closed, we're so blinded by material absorption, trying to enjoy this world in different ways. Whatever, goodness, passion, ignorance, whichever way we're doing it, it's still self-centered and still materialistic. It doesn't free us from the problems of life. Not just the fear, the anxiety, the stress, but the inevitable factor that we have to leave this body. We have to experience whatever goes on around us, as much as we may not like to. We're exposed to it. So he came, he cut through the fog. So he arrived in Boston, and we're still the day before. Are we up there? Yeah, so the next morning, the fog cleared, and then the ship started, and next morning, early in the morning, about 5 o'clock in the morning of the 17th, the ship arrived in Boston Harbor. And I've got pictures, which I haven't got a PowerPoint system here, but you could have seen it otherwise. But then on the 17th, which was equivalent tomorrow, Prabhupada writes in his diary, we're now on the dockyard at Boston. At 10 a.m. in the morning, the customs officer and others came on the ship. They have now issued the admittance permission after due checking. I mean, for the boat itself. I saw the Boston town with captain. They went for a little walk. Very nice, and I should describe it in a separate note. Prabhupada was just showing appreciation. He describes it a little bit more graphically in other places. 36 days from starting from Calcutta today, and now they've arrived in Boston. We stayed the whole day and night at Boston till 4 p.m. the next day, which will be Sunday, equivalent of Sunday. It's a good day to have Rath Yatra, the day Prabhupada arrived in Boston. Oh, Hari Bol. Krishna Gopal. Thank you. Hari Bol, good to see you. You're not alone. I mean, I've got this poem, incredible poem. I won't have time to read it tonight. You know, just realizing, you know, this is 1965. Now, many of you were alive in this body, well, something like this body in 65. How many of you were around in 65 in what we call this body anyway? 65. Come on, Sri Radha, you were around?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you were definitely around. You were around in 1800. Hands up. Oh, quite a few. We have quite a few. I bet you didn't know that Prabhupada arrived in Boston then, did you? Did you know? Nobody in the world knew. The only person who knew was the captain and the immigration officer. No one else knew. And even those who saw him, they go, oh God, what's this? They'd never seen anything like it. An old Indian man with these kind of bed sheets on. You know, funny white pointed plastic shoes. And, you know, bald head, paint on his forehead. What is this? Is this a red Indian or what is it? Indian, but not a red one. Brown one. Brown Indian. They know what it was, most people. It was a strange looking sight, to say the least. He's the only one in the whole of America, by the way. To be a vegetarian in those days was you were a freak. As they call it, freak. I don't know if you know that word. Weird. It was rare to be a vegetarian. When I became a vegetarian, my parents would try to get me to go to the psychiatrist, the psychologist. They wanted to call the psychologist. They all gone mad. They knew nobody at all who was a vegetarian, not one person. There wasn't a single vegetarian restaurant to be seen where I was from. It was kind of weird. 69. But so the same thing, they're very rare. There were some Indian people, so there was, of course, some degree, at least in New York, in America, but not many compared to today. And it was very rare. And none of them dressed like this. And most of them compromised. Most of them, when they went to the West, you know, they started, you know, dressing like all of you, most of you are dressed like, and that's all right, nothing wrong with that. Eating with knives and forks, you know, drinking whatever, this, that, and the other, you know, bliss, having some bliss drinks. Smoking, you know, good for your health, isn't it? Smoking. That's right. That's what it says on the packet, isn't it? Smoking is good for your health. Is that right? I don't read the whole thing. I just, you know, notice here, smoking is, and I don't know what the rest says. Good for your health. Naturally, I mean, by breathing in fire, it must be good for you. Smoke and fire are good for you. That's for sure. Keep you warm. Get you fired up. Hey?
We're such fools.
When I was a kid, every time I got a cold, my mum used to give me whiskey. When I was 5 years old, you know, give me a tot of whiskey, you know. It's good for you. It actually is quite a good cure for colds. You kind of get attached to whiskey, you know. Get drunk, 5-year-old kid, all around. Yeah. What to do? We're living in a tough place, you know. These climates in these parts of the world are not exactly the ideal for human beings, you know. They're kind of a bit inhabitable almost, inhospitable climate. Difficult to grow things. You grow mangoes here in Brighton? Bananas? No bananas? There's a lot of bananas in Brighton. Different types. No mangoes, no bananas, no pineapples, no papayas. No mangosteens, no rambutans, no durians. Gosh. You get potatoes. Cabbage and potatoes. Apples, cabbage and potatoes. That's what we used to get. That was our diet, together with meat. Meat, apples, potatoes, and cabbage. That was our regular diet. And, you know, milk, we used to get good milk. That was the life force, saving grace. So it's not so easy in these parts of the world, but anyway, Prabhupada entered in there. And he was a real farmer. I mean, he was alone. Totally alone. He was a completely lone ranger, as they say. Famous TV program when I was a kid. In Boston. Prabhupada, in one of his talks later on, he said, when I first came, I had no money. So I got a free passage. I came by ship. When I was in Boston, on the port, I was thinking, I have come here, I do not know what is the purpose. Because how the people will accept this movement? Pretty foreign, you know. I mean, we're not expecting all of you are even following this. But what to speak of people in general then. You know, Prabhupada's coming to teach. Ultimately he's teaching how to love God, but, you know, along with that is a lifestyle, a culture. And an aspect of that culture is vegetarianism. Okay, that's acceptable to different degrees by many people now. No intoxication. Now, for Indian people, if we say no tea, no tea. You know tea? Indian body devotees. No tea, that's difficult for most Indian people, isn't it? No coffee, that's difficult for American people. No cigarettes. By the way, women didn't smoke much in those days. It was rare. When I was a young kid, it was looked down upon if a lady was smoking cigarettes. She was considered to be low class. Smoking. Now it's common. Nobody cares. But men would smoke. That was a status symbol. You know, if you're smoking a cigar or Marlboro or cigarette or something, you were considered cool. You know, you were considered to be something. Yes?
Well, doctors used to recommend patients who never smoked to smoke to help them with their anxieties and that.
Let your anxiety out. Yes, it helps you release your anxiety. There, they used to preach to you. Yeah. Well, why are you in anxiety in the first place is another thing.
Yeah, exactly. You didn't find out that, exactly.
Yeah, they don't bother about the cause, they look at the effect. And it's good business for them because they know if you smoke, they'll have more business. You'll get sick. So it's good business for them, yeah. Anyway, that's what it was pretty much like. They used to preach to us when we were kids. That was when organic food went out and inorganic food came in the 50s. There was only organic food. Then they introduced this inorganic food. And we were preached to. Look on the packet, the more chemicals, the better it is for you. On the packet. We looked at a list of, God, we don't have a clue what they were. All these chemical names, scientific names. It must be good because the scientists put their stamp to it. You know, all chemicals stuff. Like that. It was kind of weird. But we didn't know, so we were just going along with that, so to speak. So, and then, you know, no illicit sex. Now, that's a big one, and that is a tough one. We all know that, especially in the West. In some cultures, they're kind of familiar with this, but no illicit sex literally means no sex outside marriage. And then, strictly, and it's not expected in most, you know, let's say, groups of people that this will necessarily be realistically applied, but it's really only for having children. Otherwise, why are we having it? We're having it because we want pleasure. There's some pleasure involved. Personal pleasure. Understandable. But, you know, Prabhupada was pushing a pretty high note there. And then no gambling. Well, gambling may not be a big issue for you, but it's more than just gambling, you know, financial speculations and so many other kinds of gambling. Even sport in a very loose way. I mean, we all know we need sport. But in a loose way, we go overboard. It becomes not just a sport. It becomes some kind of competitive business almost. Goes overboard. So then he said, I have come here, I do not know what. They are differently educated. As soon as I will say, so my dear sir, you have to give up meat eating and illicit sex, no intoxication, no gambling, they will say, please go home. Go away. And one of Prabhupada's God brothers, that means one of his spiritual associates when he was young, actually went to England. He didn't stay there. He went there to try to share Krishna consciousness in England in about 1935 or something. And he met one Englishman, gentleman, who had been in India, and his name was Lord Zetland. Lord Zetland, I think he was Scottish, I don't know, it sounds Scottish to me. Lord Zetland. And this Lord said to him, this Prabhupada's, his name was Bon Maharaj, said to his Swami, he said, can you also make me like you? They called him a Brahmin. He said, oh yes, no problem. He said, then what do I have to do? And he said, well, first thing, you have to give up eating meat, you have to give up all kinds of intoxicants, you have to give up illicit sex, you have to give up gambling. And in one word he replied, impossible. Impossible, he said. That was the end of that. No way. Those are just foundational things. We're not here to become Brahmins, we're here to become lovers of God. So anyway, Prabhupada had this situation. I will propose something, he said, which is impossible. Anyway, let me try. It's the beauty of Krishna consciousness. It doesn't depend upon results. It's the mere internal attitude that we're trying to, bring happiness, peace, love amongst others, trying to connect them, trying to remove this ignorance from their consciousness and help them to become happy and God consciousness and, loving to each other. People don't appreciate that. They can't see it. This little question. One of Prabhupada's servants asked him, if you were only sponsored for 1 month, how is it that you were able to extend your visa? Prabhupada said, I was extending. The immigration officer came in Boston. He inquired about this, so he asked me, Swamiji, how long you want to stay? So I thought, I have no shelter, I have no money, but I have got return tickets, so I did not know how long. He asked me, how long you want to stay? So I thought, maybe I can stay 2 months, because I have no means where to stay, how to eat, and don't know where to go, where shall I go? So I may struggle for 2 months. So I told him, I may stay most 2 months. He immediately gave 2 months sanctioned immediately. I could not think that I should be able to stay longer. But when he was in Boston, you can see he wasn't coming like, oh, where's my limousine? Where's my chauffeur to picking me up? Where's my receiver? He was alone. Even his sponsor, when he heard that he actually came, was shocked. He was absolutely shocked. He said to his wife, he interviewed him years later, he said, I couldn't believe it. I got a letter saying that Swamiji has arrived. He's coming. He's arriving. And he said to his wife, he said, honey. In America they call their wives honey. I don't know if they still do, they used to. Honey. Oh my God, he said. The Swamiji is coming. And his wife looked at the picture. He sent a picture. And bald head. Oh, they're living in a conservative little town called Butler in Pennsylvania, It's like only Christian people were there, and it was like, wow, what are we going to do? It's like they're going to be like the talking stock of the town, They got this weird person staying with them, And they were shocked. So anyway, the boat then, of course, went on to New York, and that's when he actually kind of got off. And in New York, he took a bus. They actually sent somebody to meet him at the boat at the port. Otherwise, he wouldn't know. He said, "I don't know which way to turn, right or left." They had no idea. Just totally alone with no idea what's coming next. Huh? Exciting, huh? But how many of you at the age of 70 would venture into a foreign country with no idea, no money, and no support from India, nobody in America, in ill health, in strange climate, isn't it? Not a very, not a very common thing to do. And he had a message. He didn't come. One of the different things about Prabhupada, most people that day, particularly, they looked at Indians as beggars. Not quite like that now. India's kind of materially, financially at least, quite affluent. But then it was like the world beggar. Bangladesh, India, these countries were like, they've always come to ask money. But Prabhupada never didn't come for that. He came to give. That's why he never compromised. He said, I haven't come to take, I've come to give. I've come to give what you've forgotten. I've come to give what you haven't got. India's got the greatest gift in the world. Like it or not, but it does. Even many of the British, those who weren't bigoted or politically, religiously biased, they would mention that. They say India is a land of religion. India is the real land. If you want to know what about spiritual life or religion, you go to India. Even many of them recognize it. It is. Of course, there's many other things going on, but primarily India has got more riches than anywhere else in the world. I don't mean gold and diamonds. They may have had that too one time, but they've got the most valuable thing on the planet. They've got the opportunity to attain the highest perfection and purpose of human life. Human life is not meant just to have a material life, make money, have a nice big house. We went through Richmond on the way down here. Now we know it's called Richmond. It seems like a lot of rich people live there. Big house next to the River Thames or something. Nice big park across the wall. You know, that's not the goal of life. A big car, big Mercedes, big Jaguar, or whatever they've got. That's not the goal of life at all. Complete waste of time. Absolutely, it binds us up, it entangles us in karma. Waste of time. Complete waste of time. And the education system teaching people to waste their lives away. To waste their human form of life. Human life is meant to jivasya tattva jignasti, scriptures say. Meant for spiritual inquiry. But no one's doing that hardly at all. So piety, little religious speculation going on, but nothing really spiritual hardly. And even if there is something spiritual, most people it's kind of like mixed, badly mixed, or misdirected. It's not really. Often it's tied in with trying to enjoy yourself, having better sex, living a healthier life. All these things are going on, okay. We have to take those into account, but that's not the goal. So Prabhupada wrote a poem on the second day when he was there, which will be the equivalent of his Sunday. He wrote a poem which is called in Bengali called Markane Bhagavat Dharma. It means preaching Krishna consciousness in America. He's only been off the boat for half an hour and looked around the port, that was all. Now he's writing this poem about his mission in America. So I'm going to read it. We like to sing it. Bharo kripa kaile Krishna Adamapati. Anyway, it's a beautiful song, but we're not going to. I'll read the English, and I hope you like this. It gives you an idea of the heart of such a compassionate, selfless lover of the Lord, and lover of all beings, one who feels so sad. We saw Prabhupada crying on several occasions at the fate of the world today, you know. Not just because people's bodies are killed, but because they're wasting their human life. My dear Lord Krishna, Prabhupada writes, you were so kind upon this useless soul, but I do not know why you have brought me here. He's talking to his Lord, Krishna, God, whatever you call him. Now you can do whatever you like with me. But I guess you have some business here. Otherwise, why would you bring me to this terrible place? And he's in America. Most people think this is like heaven on earth. When you go there, you realize it's not exactly heaven on earth. I'm shocked to see London now. In many ways, of course, there's many development, big buildings, this, that, the other. When you walk along Tottenham Court Road, there are literally hundreds of people sleeping on the street in tents. Garbage all around them. Well, to them it's not garbage, but it looks like garbage. All kinds of broken things all over the place. Not just in Tottenham Court Road. I saw in Marylebone Street, there's a little gap in the middle of some grass. There must have been 50 tents planted there. People staying there. It's amazing how things are. And I'm probably so sad to see people just sleeping out on park benches and things, wasting their human life. Maybe that's what they want, but it's a shame. Terrible place. That doesn't make it a terrible place necessarily, but why is he seeing it a terrible place? Because everyone's so absorbed in mundane endeavor, trying to exploit this world, and consequently exploiting others in the process. Blind, ignorant to what happiness could be theirs, what opportunity is there, you know. And there's no peace. Where's the peace and unity in the world today? Where is it? You don't have to look very far to understand there's a sore need. But there's no solution. They have no idea. It's like in Kathmandu, they just smashed the Parliament House and this thing and that thing and chased them all away, but they have no idea what to do now. They're lost, right? They don't know what's next. They're going to bring the same guy back in who they kicked out 10 years ago. They did the same thing in many places like that. They have no idea what to do. They have no solution. Because they have no God consciousness. They don't know who they are. They think they're Nepalese, or they think they're Indians, or they think they're Americans, or Chinese, or English, or French. We have all these stupid ideas about who we are. And we fight over that simply because of identity. We think we're Christians, Hindus, Buddhists. This is all foolishness. We're none of those things. If they're useful to help us to realize our true identity, so be it. But they're not. Most 99% they're not. They further our differentiation or duality. They further our ignorance. People fight over those identities. They don't even know they're fighting with. It's such a crazy situation. Prabhupada came to give people a chance to change all that. We have to take it. We can't force anyone. Most of the population, he says here, is covered by the material mode of ignorance and passion. It's not difficult to see. Absorbed in material life, they think themselves very happy. Like a drunkard thinks himself happy, even a criminal may think himself happy. And satisfied. And therefore they have no taste for the transcendental message of Vasudeva, the name of Krishna. No taste. No interest. I mean, this. Every time we go to people all the time on the streets, different parts of the world, in most places, no, at least bit interested. They don't even look. They don't even bother looking. They're so, intoxicated with their material pursuits. I do not know how they will be able to understand it, but I know your causeless mercy can make everything possible, because you are the most expert mystic. It's only possible by the mercy of the Lord. So he's appealing to the Lord, please be merciful to the people, to these people. How will they understand the mellows of devotional service, the sweet relationship, the sweet experience of devotion to God, to Krishna? Oh Lord, I'm simply praying for your mercy so that I will be able to convince them about your message. He wasn't thinking I'm going to convince them. He's praying to Krishna. Please, allow me to be your instrument to help them to understand this message. This is a good point. If anyone wants water, is water available? Cups and water. You may be dry. You may be dry. I don't know how it works, but whatever. All living entities in this world have come under the control of the illusory or material energy by your will. Now that means that Krishna's arranged this material world for us. Why? Because we want it. We want to enjoy, with ourselves in the center. Try at least, without this God in the middle of it all. We want to be in the middle of it all, and we try to put him in box of non-existence or to the side, or in history or something. Put him to the side, or make him an order carrier. Most religions have him as an order carrier to satisfy their material needs. Give me this, give me that. Thank you God for this, thank you God for that. It's okay, it's pious, it's certainly something in the right direction, but it's not the purpose of it all. So he's provided this word for us, like you may provide for, if you have a kid, a child, you're the one who's providing all the toys. The child wants them, you provide them. The kid can't provide. So the parents will, by their will, the child gets those various items. So we get all these opportunities in this world in different bodies to experience different forms of material pleasure or pain, like that. But that's not really the will of the Lord in one sense. Neither is the will of the parent that we remain absorbed in wasting our time. But this is a stage we have to go through. And similarly, we can't get out of this world by the will of God. We can't push ourselves out of it. Like you can try to get out of a jailhouse and you may escape, but then you're still a criminal. If you get caught, you'll be put back in again. So you've got to get out by the proper method. So it's the will of the Lord, the will of the government, they release you. And he says, I wish you may deliver them. Therefore, if you so desire their deliverance, then only will they be able to understand your message. Prabhupada wanted they be delivered. And he's praying for them. The words of the Srimad Bhagavatam, I don't know if we have that book here. I've got a book here, where's it gone? You may not have seen this, I don't know if you've seen it before. Where's it gone? Here it is. This is one of the first books Prabhupada compiled. And it's called The Light of the Bhagavat. Have you got this? Some of you have seen it. It's a fascinating book. Prabhupada was hoping to get the chance to take this subject matter to Japan. Somebody was, years before, had asked him if he would come to his exhibition. So Prabhupada produced this. It wasn't in the book form then, it was in the picture form with some captions. and then it was later put into the book form. Well, Light of the Bhagavat, it really is a very fascinating presentation of the philosophy and the life of Krishna consciousness, based upon real life scenes, the nature of the seasons and the world around us and so on. What happens, and comparing it to the spiritual path. The Light of the Bhagavat. A few of those if you're interested. So the Srimad Bhagavatam is based upon a section from this book called Srimad Bhagavatam, the books he had when he went to America. And if a sober person, that doesn't mean that they've been drinking all night long and they've sobered up the next morning. It means somebody who's balanced, they're not intoxicated by material sense enjoyment in general, they're just kind of normal. Repeatedly receives it with submissive oral reception, then he will be able to understand. Simply by hearing this message, one will be able to understand the point behind it. It's so nice. Just by hearing. It's like you go to college, you hear, you may be able to understand the science that you're studying or the subject by hearing. Spiritual life's like that too, by hearing, carefully hearing. And the first copies of this book were very rough, you could say, very basic printing. And the translation, which he put a little bit in there, Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is the super soul in everyone's heart, and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses desires for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee who has developed the urge to hear his messages, which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. By regularly hearing Srimad Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the devotees, all that is disturbing in the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. As soon as irrevocable loving service is established in the heart, the effects of nature's modes of passion and ignorance, such as lust, desire, and hankering, disappear from the heart. And we're all controlled by lust and desire and hankerings, envy, and so on. They're kind of constantly anger, constantly harassing the consciousness of the living being. And you can try to, put them down a bit here and there, but the root problem is still there. You've got to get to the root of it. You've got to get out the root. It's not enough just to remove the effects on the surface. To remove the root cause. The root cause is our ignorance. We've forgotten who we are. Oh, isn't that nice of you? Thank you. So kind. Thank you. Oh, look at that. I didn't even ask for it and it came. Thus established in the mode of unalloyed goodness, or when one's in goodness, one becomes completely happy, in pure goodness, no influence of ignorance. And then the mind is enlivened. You feel very inspired. You don't need anything else. You're completely satisfied within. There's no need to run around trying to find sense enjoyment, spending all your money, hard-earned money, on this, that, and the other. The latest thing in fashions, the latest technological appliance, the latest whatever it is, the latest type of spending hundreds of dollars and pounds or euros, whatever it is, in eating some fancy food somewhere, or whatever it is we do, going all the way over the world somewhere for a holiday. You're satisfied in your heart already. The knot in the heart is pierced. We're all bound up. It's called karma granta. It's like a knot which we're bound in karma. It's released. And all misgivings, all misunderstandings are removed. And the karmic reaction comes to an end when we understand the actual nature of the self. You become liberated from the modes of nature, and all inauspicious things in the heart will disappear. It'd be nice. I mean, we just haven't experienced it really. We're just so much absorbed in what we've experienced, but we've forgotten this most valuable thing which we all have. So Prabhupada came to just remind us. How will I make them understand this message of Krishna consciousness? I'm very unfortunate, unqualified, the most fallen. Therefore I'm seeking your benediction so that I can convince them. For I am powerless to do so on my own. To total humility. This is the secret, the genuine humility. Someone other, O Lord, you have brought me here to speak about you. Now, my Lord, it is up to you to make me a success or a failure as you like. O spiritual master of all the worlds, I can simply repeat your message. So if you like, you can make my power of speaking suitable for their understanding. There's a devotee who just feels himself a surrendered instrument of the will of his beloved Lord. Only by your causeless mercy will my words become pure. I'm sure that when this transcendental message penetrates their hearts, they will certainly feel gladdened, and thus become liberated from all unhappy conditions of life. Oh Lord, I'm just like a puppet in your hands. So if you have brought me here to dance, then make me dance. Make me dance, O Lord. Make me dance as you like. I have no devotion, nor do I have any knowledge, but I have strong faith in the holy name of Krishna. I've been designated as a Bhaktivedanta. It means one who understands the conclusion of knowledge through devotion. And now, if you like, you can fulfill the real purport of Bhaktivedanta. And Prabhupada signed it. It was actually a poem in Bengali, that's just the English. Signed, the most unfortunate, insignificant beggar, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, on board the ship Jaladuta, Boston, 18th of September, 1965. One day, a couple more things. One of his servants named Pradyumna Prabhu asked Prabhupada one time, what if people don't hear the message, which is usually the case? Prabhupada said, the people might not understand our message, but Krishna will be pleased. And that is our mission. We must not be disappointed that no one is hearing Krishna consciousness. We will say it to the moon and the stars in all directions. We will cry in the wilderness, because Krishna is everywhere. We want to get a certificate from Krishna. This man has done something for me. Not popularity. If a pack of asses say you are good, what is that? We have to please Krishna's senses with purified senses. Hare Krishna. I'll just read one little thing now. Perhaps this is the last one. The little pamphlet which he brought to Boston with him. And on that pamphlet it said, the sufferings of the entire human society can at once be brought under control simply by individual practice of Bhakti Yoga, a simple and easy process of chanting the holy name of God. Every country, every nation, every community throughout the world has some conception of the holy name of God. And as such, either Hindu, Mohammedan or Christian, everyone can easily chant the holy name of God in a meditative mood, and that will bring about the required peace and goodwill in the present problematic human society. Any inquiry in this connection will be gladly answered. Hindus generally chant the holy name of God in 16 chain of transcendental sound, composed of 32 alphabets. This is Prabhupada's broken English. I hope you get the meaning. As Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. The Vedic literatures, like the ancient Upanishads and Puranas, do recommend chanting of the above-mentioned 16 holy names at a stretch, and Lord Chaitanya, who preached this cult of chanting the holy name of God, gave special importance on these transcendental sounds. Lord Chaitanya is a form of Krishna who came to deliver the name. In this age of Kali, or the age of hate, hypocrisy, corruption and quarrel, the only remedial measure is that every man should chant the holy name of the Lord, both individually and collectively. Hare Krishna. It was just a little tiny touch of Prabhupada's arrival in Boston and this unknown to the world message. Now, this movement is now spread pretty much to all corners of the world. We've even had Krishna consciousness going to Antarctica. That was the last frontier in terms of continents. Prabhupada's books are now in Antarctica, in the research centres there. And the penguins are all chanting down there. Even the sea lions are jumping up and down in the ocean, singing and dancing. Oh, for that day. And this is all predicted in scriptures and by great devotees in the past that this would happen. That, in all the countries of the world, the cities of the world, that the chanting of the holy name will be heard and chanted, be going on. And Prabhupada was the emissary who brought that message to all corners of the world, including, he didn't come to Brighton, but many devotees came to Brighton. He came to London, and he went to Glasgow, Edinburgh, London, Oxford. I don't know if he went anywhere else. Letchmore Heath, like to down tomorrow. Can't think where else he went in the UK. I think that was it. And of course other countries in Europe he went to, and in all over America. He went to Moscow also. He just preached to one young Russian boy in Moscow who came along with his friend. This young Russian boy's friend happened to be the son of the ambassador for India who came to see Prabhupada. And the Russian boy was more interested in the ambassador and the ambassador's son. The Russian boy was interested in what Prabhupada was saying. And in 2 or 3 hours, Prabhupada gave him direction in Krishna consciousness, and that boy spread Krishna consciousness all over Russia. Now we have hundreds of thousands of devotees there, alone. He was really quite amazing, all by Prabhupada's potency of injecting that into his heart. He went to all kinds of places, because he couldn't enter into China then, but now Krishna consciousness is going everywhere. He went to Japan, Hong Kong, Philippines, Malaysia, Australia, New Zealand, Africa, South America, Mexico. Wherever he got the chance, he would go to try to share Krishna, even though his health was bad and he never knew what was coming next. But he sacrificed, or he gave his life like that for the welfare of others. This is the true welfare movement. It's to really bring happiness, peace, and unity to the world. We don't care what religion people are or they're not religious. Everyone's the same quality. We're all spiritual beings. We all have a relationship. We all have a relationship with Krishna. So to give us that chance, the choice is ours. You can take it or leave it. That's your choice. That was Prabhupada's heart. And even if nobody listened, Prabhupada was still willing to speak and give. He lived to give. Okay, Hare Krishna, Brighton. We're going down to the beach now for... What's the plan?
Kirtan, Maharaj, please.
Kirtan on the beach?
Yeah.
Dancing on the pebbles. Tomorrow maybe. Everyone knows tomorrow's the festival. What's the weather going to be like? Huh? We've heard different reports. I don't know what the latest updates. Huh? What was that?
Same as today.
Similar to today? I
By
heard
Krishna's grace, it won't rain on us.
Krishna says, "How purify as I am the wind." You heard there might be a windy day, I don't know. But that was the last I heard. I don't know what the latest news updates are, but there might be a bit of wind, I don't know. I had a lot of wind in my stomach on the way down, and I hope I got rid of the wind. Let's see what Lord Jagannath arranges. Accept whatever he provides, what can we do? I've been in Rath Yatra festivals with water up to here, almost up to my thighs. I remember in Malaysia one time, it rained so hard, and the road flooded up to about this high. And the last car, lucky Jagannath was higher, of course. We were almost up to our waists in water in the kirtan. We were the only ones on the street. It was ecstatic. Bliss. Very bliss. So let's see what he's got in store tomorrow. Be prepared and chant with all your hearts. You want kirtan?
Please, Maharaj.
Yeah, I haven't got much for kirtan tonight. Maybe Jivananda Prabhu could take us away.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Is that okay?
Yeah, whatever you want.
Please, if you can. I'll try to join in. Let's go for it. Yes, Prabhu.
Maharaj, thanks for coming all the way from France to Brighton.
Oh, we came from London, actually. Came from London.
Oh, you came from it, I thought.
It would have been quicker if I come from France. If we got here earlier. What to do? Yeah.
And also we saw you in the London Rath Yatra also.
Pardon?
I met you in London Rath
Did you?
Yatra, so
Yeah. I usually try to come to London. I'm coming to London.
Yeah.
The first London Rath Yatra I went to was 1972. Yeah.
I thought it came from France. And Maharaj, actually, whatever you told, I totally agree. I think if you,
Pardon?
whatever you just give the lecture in that, as we chant regularly, actually our heart gets automatically cleansed and we feel inner happiness. And
You look happy.
yeah, we feel
Nityananda
inner
is
happiness
always
happy.
and
Always
peaceful.
happy.
And just one thing, Maharaj, I have only one question.
Okay.
For example, if any devotee is there or any Sangha is there, what should be the aim of an individual? Whether he should try to, individually he should try to make an effort to reach towards the Godhead, or he should also try to take along with the
Everyone.
other people towards
Everybody.
I just wanted to know what should be the aim of a devotee.
The more the merrier. The more the merrier.
Okay, Maharaj, thank you.
Many,
I just wanted to know, like, what should
but charity
be the aim?
begins at home. At least try to do your best. Do your best yourself to be Krishna conscious, and then automatically, as we become Krishna conscious, you want others to become Krishna conscious
Okay, we
too.
should also try to involve
Yeah,
ourselves in it.
as much as you can.
No, just what.
Much as you, in whatever way you can. There's many ways of doing that, but you do your best. That's up to you, but at least try to see that you're as Krishna. If you are becoming Krishna conscious, you will not want to see others not get that opportunity. You'll want to give that opportunity to others. It's only natural. Well, why are we doing it? Because everyone has a loving relationship with God, with Krishna. We want to bring pleasure to everyone, but we want to bring pleasure to Krishna. So it's like a mother and a father. If you lose your kid, how do you feel? And some of you are parents. How do you feel if you lose a kid? How do you feel? It's the end of the world, isn't it? Practically, it's like death. You'd rather die yourself, Why my kid, You'd rather die yourself, It's the end of the world. The best thing you can do for the parents if he loses a child, the child disappeared, taken away, kidnapped, whatever it is, what do you do? The best thing, if you can reunite the child with the parents, isn't it? That's all the parents want. They don't want it. They'll give everything for that kid. They'll sacrifice their home, every penny they've got, whatever to get that kid back. It means more to them than everything else put together. So we're all like that. Krishna wants you. He wants to have a loving relationship with you. That will make you happy as well. That's why we exist. We're not here. We're not God. We didn't make ourselves.
We should also take others.
Well, we want to please our Father. We want to please our object of our worship, of love, whatever. Then we should try to think, he'd like to see that. And if you're in a family of 6 kids, and one of the kids disappears, so what? It's still 5 of us. But that's not quite what the parents will think, You want to go out and find that kid and bring him back, Right? What are you so worried about? It means I get more anyway, so it's better that he's gone. I get more of the inheritance, right? Good idea, get rid of a couple more. They don't think like that, at least I hope you don't. You want to bring them all back, right? Maybe today's a little different. I see in families all these fighting over the inheritance between brothers and sisters is going on. It's ridiculous. That's due to greed and ignorance and so on.
I think Nityananda was asking that question, Maharaj, because we can all play our part. I think that's what you were saying, right? It's not
We can all play a part.
We can all play our part in sharing Krishna consciousness.
Everyone's got a part to play. You just have to find your part, that's all. We're not all the same. We're not robots. They keep asking me, well, are you a robot? They're going to convince you eventually. I can say, maybe I am, Are you a robot? Yes. They might leave me alone if I put yes there. We're not robots, you're people, you're persons. Everyone, even an insect is a person. Everyone's a person, a living being, has their own life, their own nature. It's covered over us all. So we just find out the best way we can use our God-given facilities, that's all. We never made this body. Did you make the body? Did you make your body? You made a mess of your body. You didn't make, no, I'm not saying you, by the way. Talking in general. I looked at you, because if I looked at anyone else, they might get upset with me, I look at you. Nobody knows how it goes on. They're so proud of their so-called cloning, but they take the already alive ingredients and put them together in a certain similar environmental condition and consider they've made something. They haven't done anything. They've taken that which is already existing, that's all they've done. It's the same with everything. We never made England. And they certainly didn't make the United States for America. They're uptight about immigrants, but who are the immigrants in America? Who are they? It was there before they went there, or before we went there. Whatever it was, it went there. And, you know, there were people living there before, so, but nobody really owns anything. Nothing. Nothing's ours. We just got like temporary use of it, but it's not really ours. If it was ours, you wouldn't be able to control it. You know, anything can happen to this body at any moment. You never know what's going to happen. It's out of our control. Okay. Is that okay?
Thank you, Marsh.
So we're going to the beach. Okay, the beach. Can't wait. I'm going to go for a swim, midnight swim. Wake up. You ready, boys? These guys are all ready. You just came down from London or what?
Yes, Maharaj.
Just rolled in.
From the manor.
Huh?
From the manor we drove.
You drove from the manor. Yeah. I'm sure you got here quicker than I did. Took us 4 hours and 20 minutes to get here from Soho.
The traffic through central London.
Well, it was a complicated issue. There were a few other complications involved. But basically the traffic, yeah. You know, we were in a taxi for the first part. It took us an hour and a half to go about 7 miles in a taxi. Because one of the doors had a taxi to drive us. But in a taxi lane, and 2 or 3 times there were buses that broke down in the taxi lane. You know, it was like crazy. And there were so many things going on. I thought it never come to an end. It was like, I didn't know it was a nightmare or what was going on. I wasn't sure. Huh? Somebody said something.
I'm just enthusiastic for the kirtan.
Yeah, go for it. Go for it. Yeah. Okay, thanks all very much. Oh, by the way, if anyone wants one of these delightful little books, Light of the Bhagavat, I have a few
Yeah, I
here.
loved one. I lost mine. It was delightful
You didn't.
to have because it was based on that whole exposition that we're having in Japan about the beauty of nature.
Yeah, nature's
That
beauty.
was so clever. You put it together
Yeah.
so beautifully. Yeah.
It's so sweet. And it's beautiful. Open them up. I'll show you. These things are not always easy to open, I'm afraid. Oh, this one's opening, I think. Yeah, there it goes. These are some of the paintings Prabhupada had commissioned way back in the early 60s. There's all kinds of paintings in there. They're kind of Chinese-y oriented, huh?
Yeah, it's Japanese. Famous
Japanese.
artist.
The artist was actually Hong Kong, someone from Hong Kong. No, Japan first. This one was Hong Kong. This is the second series. Somebody in Hong Kong did it. Fantastic. There's lots of nice illustrations. And the stories go along with it. They're related to the Bhagavatam and nature, the beauty of nature and the seasons, the weather, so many different things. Talks about the rain and the wind and all kinds of things. You can relate to it tomorrow when you're on the Rath Yatra. And I got another book you may not have seen too. Here. Oh no, that one you've seen. What's this? Here. This is a book, I haven't read it, but anyway, it's probably good. I've never read it. A book called Hiding in Unnatural Happiness, a bit like along the lines we just spoke tonight, Dave and Rita Swami. And there's another one, 4 Questions, A Pathway to Inner Peace. This is by Vaisheshika Prabhu. And anyway, those are a few little books. I haven't got many. But if anyone's really serious, I've got a few. And if you want to come back again, there's one book if you want to come back or coming back. If you don't want to come back again, don't get this book. But if you want to come back to the program here again,
Come back next week.
Come back next week, yeah. Help you to come back. It's an interesting cover. You probably can't see anything except for a red coming back written on top. I don't know why they took away all the other parts of it. It's kind of like almost an invisible cover. Interesting. Okay, I'm finished. Is that all right?
Thank you, Maharaj. His Holiness Janananda Goswami Maharaj ki
Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Premanandi. Haribol.